Okay, let me just make this little clip. Why is it early in the morning and I'm arguing about tariffs? Like I'm literally engaging in conversations with my mate about, he's a Trump supporter, first and foremost. But like he likes sending me these videos of just people talking about everything that they believe Trump is doing right in a way that is like, can be factually discredited, but he keeps sending me these videos and I'm like, I mean, dog, I'm with you. Like you can defend your square, stand on your square for sure, but like, I might just start, poking holes in your bubble. But yeah, I wish him well. I hope the gym goes well. Maybe he sends me videos, I just laugh. Anyway, okay. Let's get the talkies out the way. Yay. Hey. Welcome to the BloyMeetsWorld podcast. I'm Sean, and yeah, this is the pod. We're back. I am revived, reinvigorated. I am ready to start the second quarter of 2025 off with the bang that it deserved in 2024. So, yeah, this pod is back. My baby, after having a dream of having a podcast for 6 years, like in the beginning, when Joe Rogan was still fucking cool, I was like, yo, I'm gonna build a podcast for myself and just go ahead, get after it. Recorded the first episode, my friend bailed on me, broke my heart, stopped recording. In 2024, I had like a bit of a reawakening. I'd cleaned my life up and like gotten focused. I didn't realize how unfocused I was until I was like, oh my God, I do not feel good. And yeah, this is the intro. And really just my mindset clicked and I realized like, yo, I wanted way more for myself than I was giving myself credit for, than I was allowing myself to see and perceive and feel. I had a lot of external factors in my life that were seemingly stressing me out, and I was just done with it. I was just over it. So at the beginning of 2024, let's slow down. My name is Sean. I go by BloyMeetsWorld. I'm a solopreneur in the content space, and the solopreneur part is the part that this specific point, we're pinning this as like the start point because we're taking it super seriously. I grew up in television, so I have an affinity for video and cinematography, for just art in general, and that has shaped how I wanted to go about doing this. I started a company last year. I'll get into all of the company stuff later, but I started a company last year to host my media so that I could turn any piece of content I make into functionally, product that is commissionable, basically, something I can sell. I really intended commodifying my life. I'm brilliant. I need to get that out the way. Like, I speak highly of myself because I'm fucking cool. That's a fact. And I'm ready to move through the world like the person that I think I am. So I did the things that I followed my heart. Like if I was, a butcher, or like I grew up on a farm and I was like, you know what, I really want to be a butcher. So I went to butchery school and, traveled the world learning how to butcher meat. I also have a culinary background, so this is not like that far off. If I wanted to be a butcher, I would, pick up a knife and some tools, find some meat, practice the skills, practice the cuts, learn what the craft is in the trade. That is exactly what I've done here. For the past, since I was 20, I went to culinary school. By 21, I was done and preparing to come to the United States. I have lived as a chef and in the food service industry in the United States since 2017. And honestly, I loved it and hated it. So I decided, why don't I do something I just love? And over and above, I wanted to be able to do something for me that I was in control of, that did not have multiple levels of management and multiple levels of bosses coming at my, middle management can suck a dick, honestly. But that's why I became a solopreneur. I knew I do not function well in certain controlled situations, and I knew that the world generally, when I'm outside, responds well to me. I'm very confident in who I am. So now it's time to get that confidence out to the world. Up until this point, what have I done? I haven't done any big pieces of work that are noteworthy. Oh, one thing I have done, I've cooked for Jamie Foxx. I should at least hit that name drop. I cooked for Jamie Foxx. It was an amazing experience. He is a lovely guy. He was super funny. It was awesome meeting him, but that's not really much to hang my hat on. I have the photo, it's fire, but other than that, I haven't done anything noteworthy, especially in this content space. I say I haven't done anything noteworthy because it's currently still in development. So I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Last year, in June, I go to Virginia. Me and my ex take a trip up to Virginia. We just hang out. It's pretty rural. I get bored. I step out to a town called Stanton. Now, I like going to downtowns in eclectic places because that's where you meet real people. You see what's really going on. You get to experience cool things. There's cool stores, historical sites. I'm all about that. And especially if there's art, I'm there. So I go over there and I'm like, yo, this is cool. I bump into an art gallery. A interior design company. I step in there, have a great time with them. I come back, I film their fashion show. That is one of the first videos that went up on my YouTube page. YouTube is BloyMeetsWorld. There's two of them, either Sean Bloy or BloyMeetsWorld. Please go check it out. Everything should be perceived and seen as raw and amateur. That was intermediate, not even intermediate, that's amateur. This is intermediate at least. This is an intermediate production. That was amateur. That was iPhone and willpower, honestly. Oh, the editing on that was, it took me forever to edit it. And I'm not editing still isn't my strong suit. Production is. I have a keen sense of who, what, when, where, and how things should be in order to pull something together. That's always been my, at least, gift. Turn this on D&D. Put my haters on D&D. It's the party next door. Okay, you say it's a P&D. Think it's funny like EFT. What's up, bitch? I'm Shabak got EFT. We go way back like EST. Got the game in my pocket. I play it like PSP. Think it's funny. Hey, shout out my glad dope boy. That is okay. I can't wait to meet you, Maglera. Maglera dope boy. Okay, cool. I go in, I see this gallery, I film their fashion show. I have a great time. I form a relationship with these people. I walk around. I fall in love with this little downtown. I come back in October, and in October, I find another interesting place. It's called the Stanton Innovation Hub, SIH. Shout out to the SIH because I didn't see it when I was there the first time. My second time around, I took a greater walk around the area, bumped into this building that is basically it's a grandiose co-working space. It's a huge co-working space. I met a lady from iHeartRadio. I still have her card. She's gonna get a call from me. Don't worry about it. But I realized like, yo, this is where I'm supposed to be. And the lovely lady at the front, Amy, shout out Amy. She walks me to the back and she's like, yo, after understanding what like you're into, this is the person I'm gonna introduce you to. And she introduces me to, honestly, one of my favorite people from last year, a guy named Mike. Shout out to Mike, Big Mike. Shout out to Husky Unicorn Media, because that guy was my first if I could have spent like days next to him, I did actually. I spent days next to that man because I was just going in on learning about the craft more from like a seasoned veteran professional, because I grew up in television, walking on sets with my mom. Like, she taught me what production is. She taught me how to view this world, you know? We'd be catching continuity errors as a kid, you know? Like, oh, look, in this scene, her glass is in the one hand, and in the next scene, it's another hand, ha, 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 you know, type shit. Man, that October trip was so awesome. How we got to that October trip was also interesting. I meet Mike, and Mike just pours into me all of this like information. He is, you know, helping me create the thing I thought I was going to create. I wanted to film and do interviews of people participating in an event in Stanton that happens in the downtown and this like surrounding downtown, which is called Stanton Outside Arts. Basically, it's a big community event where every member in the community in this downtown either is artistically inclined or has a craft that they work on. If they do metal work, they'd create a metalwork art object and display it. And the aim is to draw awareness to the neighborhood. It is a way for the community to, you know, coalesce and interact around this one event. It lasts the entirety of October. So weekly there are events, and it had my name written all over it. So from June, I found out about it in about August, and basically decided that that's where I was going to be. And come hell or high water, that's where I was. It did not go perfectly. And that's how we get to, I have something kind of sitting in the tuck, but I made a documentary basically. I documented my pre-self, like everything that happened in 2024 is a documentary worthy piece. half of it is autobiographical, and half of it is about Stanton Outside Arts, and how much that trip actually changed me and brought me to this point. I had an amazing time. I did go back in December, and in December is where I actually did my big one. I had finally crafted I'd crafted the concepts that I wanted to put out now. I did my soul searching. I found out that this is also after the ADHD diagnoses. So now I'm moving like with that mentality, and I knew that I was not going to make any progress if I didn't like stay focused. And staying focused required a lot of discipline, and I then had a stroke of genius. I said, yo, I want to be so disciplined. It's like I'm in a daze. Like I'm just, that is the only thing I can see and perceive and feel, you know? And so I crafted Daze of Discipline. Daze of Discipline is really just guardrails. It's a series that is designed to help me discuss mental health, discuss mental health subject matter, allow myself to be a bit more vulnerable in discussing these matters, because like sometimes people don't want to hear that shit. Like some people just don't give a fuck about what you have going on in your head. And the thing is, when it's like people who are like near you and close to you, that ends up getting like, it gets distressing. I've come to find I found a lot of good information and also somewhat solidarity online, because people are courageous and they're posting what's going on in their heads. They're telling you like, yo, my favorite, is it LFG Rocky on TikTok? This dude is so fire because he's a tall dude with curly hair, and he's just real about being ADHD, being neurodivergent, and what it looks like, what it feels like, how he's like, you know, he says he raw. I think he's unmedicated, so he says he raw dogs life, and I'm like, we're not doing that. It gets too chaotic, and I don't have enough security to like, you know, to test the waters. So we're happily medicated and happily just, you know, keeping the guardrails on. But watching his videos, I get educated because he's telling you like, hell, when I go through this is what I do, and this is this and this and this. I was like, okay, fine. Like, yo, okay, thank you giving me a little bit more courage. There's just a lot. That is, you know, my neurodivergent algorithm. And that's so we get back to the neurodivergence. I think that's what got in the way on the first trip was I just couldn't, how do I say this? The first round of Daze of Discipline didn't go as well as not Daze of Discipline, of my trip to the Stanton Outside Arts Festival didn't go as well as I wanted it to, or it should have, or it could have. It went the way it was meant to go. I'm a true believer in, like, yo, God puts you where you're supposed to be, period. Like, there's nothing you're gonna do that's gonna change the outcome. I mean, you know, there's moments where you're like, if I'd made a different choice, everything would have went differently. You weren't gonna make a different choice. You didn't have a choice in the matter. The choices you made were the choices that, you know, was what was going to happen. That was your fate. That was your destiny. You do have a certain amount of control over your destiny by, you know, being disciplined or being in charge of your destiny. That's what this is. That's what this is. being in control of your destiny. So my goal with all of this is to, before I go into my goal, I want to give a big shout out to a lady named Barbara Bernstein. She did an interview with me that is up on my YouTube page right before I went to Stanton, discussing Stanton, discussing her work, it was just an introductory meeting. And when we were up there, she had a display. So she draws, but she makes huge art pieces on walls and stained glass. It's beautiful. The reason I know it's beautiful, because I saw her artwork like in person. And I saw what she'd done in smaller places around the city, around the town. I then went into her actual she had her exhibition, basically. I went to see her exhibition. It was in is that a library or is it an art gallery? I think it was a gallery. So it's the local gallery that has rooms for people to, display their artwork or, work in. It was so beautiful, I broke down crying. And it wasn't just the beauty of her. She took a room about this size, like it's not that big of a room, like a regular bedroom, and drew on every single wall and window and just made a beautiful, beautiful art piece. There was furniture in the room, so the furniture was also drawn on and decorated, and it all flowed together. It was a beautiful piece. And we started discussing and talking, and I broke down crying. I was so tired and so worn down because it had taken so much energy just to get to the Stanton trip that by the time I was having this really magical, impressive moment, I broke down sobbing. And I'm gonna post that. That's one of the videos that's gonna be upcoming. I think I'm ready to post it. But it was a beautiful moment. So big shout out to her. In the video, you'll hear her holding me and telling me everything's gonna be okay. It's wild. I'm 6 foot and this is like a 4'11" Jewish lady who's just holding me. Who's just holding me. It was crazy. My goal is to become a full-time content creator. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Not just doing a podcast, live streaming, and I have series that I've developed that I wanna get out and put out, that I'm going to. Daze of Discipline is already recorded. It should be releasing. It should be out already. This is the one that I'm gonna tease because it's very close to me and I'm gonna tell a personal story. A personal story that ties in with one of my favorite books. So let's start with the favorite book first. Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. So I fell in love with this book, honestly. And I've recently just started reading. Don't judge me. It's not that I don't read or I don't educate myself. It's just physically reading was something I fell off. I used to read hundreds of books a year as a kid. Like, I used to chew through books. And into adulthood, it just fell off. I was outside, as the young kids say. So there was no reading. I am an auditory learner. So like by default, it is easy for me to capture information by listening to things. So I love audiobooks, but the actual art of engaging your eyes, reading, hand movement, I missed it. So when I decided I was going to purchase a few books and get my reading game up, I picked up one of my heroes. Before Trevor became Trevor Noah that we know today in the United States, the Daywalker was, that is definite. I should definitely have Daywalker as like in my top 10 comedy specials ever. And that's like, as a South African, I should definitely have Daywalker as one of my top 10 comedy specials because of how kind of impactful it was. Hearing Trevor's story is straightforward. It is not straightforward as it is anywhere else in the world. Like, two people had a kid and then moved. No, like, being born a crime is literally what he was. And many people were. If you read the book, biracial kids were sent off to orphanages. Like, horrific things. Like, you could be jailed and imprisoned for having intercourse with somebody of a different race. That was happening. And that was happening when anti-miscegenation laws were overturned in the United States. We still have that, right? Like, right there. But his personal story of being a light-skinned kid who could maneuver through the white world, maneuver through the black world, and learned how to speak all of these languages so that he could maneuver through all these, different areas. He learned how to speak Afrikaans as well as Setswana, which is not his mother tongue. He was fluent in English, which allowed him to move in, the white world, which has always been, knowing English has always been, I'll give you an example. You could be a C student, but speak fluent English and go to the top of be black, a C student, but speak fluent English, and you could go to the top of your job ladder. If you're an A+ student, but you speak broken English, you're relegated to the trenches because you won't be able, and it's not because you won't be able to exist on the higher rungs, it's just nobody wants to deal with you in your broken English because white supremacy. Man. For myself. So Trevor was born in 1988, if I'm not mistaken, which is like 6 years before me. 1988 or 1987, I don't remember. I was born in 1994. So I was born in the year where my country became free and I was not born under oppression, period. 3 months before I was born was the first elections, the first free and open elections. So I was literally born free of oppression. When I would go to school, from pre-K, the message was that when we were coloring in our flag, and this color means this, and this color means this, and all together it means representation, and everyone is equal, and everyone is free. I said, bet, that's cool. But that is what's ingrained in my psyche because that was the narrative back then, or that is the narrative. I, however, being dark-skinned, was a bit of an anomaly in my school because I pulled up South African born in Joburg, raised in Durban. You should at least be able to speak some Zulu. Kanda. That's an egg. That means 0. I couldn't speak Zulu. Saved my life. So I couldn't speak any African language, any South African languages. So I was definitely picked on. I was definitely like ostracized. Was I ostracized? I mean, I had friends, but I was seen as different. Seen as different, seen as weird, seen as an outsider because I didn't make sense. Because I get we get it, you're South African, you're just not like us. Oh my word, I've been through not like us. Those kids would have been dancing. He's not like us, he's not like us. Because I just spoke English. Hold on 1 second. And no, I would not disrespect the Bay. Yeah, they would have been dancing on my grave. I don't speak, because I didn't speak these languages, I flowed through the world differently. My sister taught me to read before I went to like preschool. So I was very adept in English, and my lingual skills, so I'm doing it. My lingual skills were, my English language skills were pretty high, which was cool because that's the medium of instruction. So my marks were good. I moved through the world very differently. I did make an extreme effort to learn in high school, and that was awesome because I gained solidarity. I mean, my friends were multiracial, and we spoke a bunch of different languages in boarding school, I learned how to speak Shona. I don't really still know how to speak Shona, but I loved Shona. Is such a lovely language. It is so fun to speak. No cap. Shona is a fun language. I still, Hanzichi, Ndirbo. Oh my God, I miss it. I then, also in boarding school was Sotho Setswana, and Zulu was just me trying. I dubbed Zulu in high school. 8th grade Zulu was so hard. So hard. So where the story changes, and like in Trevor's story, is when you're like in the white world and speaking English. Like the way I spoke English separated me from my peers, from my other black peers. I worked for a company called the Creative Council. Shout out the Creative Council and everybody who doesn't work there anymore. I don't know what happened to it. I think it's still there. But in working there, I would audition basically to get a campaign, and off the rip, I was already like, spotted because I could communicate clearly in English. I didn't have a lot of confidence at this time. This job actually gave me a ton of real world confidence and confidence building just by the nature of you're going out, you're interacting with the public, you're trying to sell them something, you're also trying to, your aim is to represent the brand you're wearing and marketing to its highest degree, and you're a representative. So I would smoke it. Why? I wanted to serve. Like, I was also under the gun. Like, there's a parallel here where I was performing to pay rent. Like, it was rough at this period in my life. I was 18, just out of high school, and I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I didn't get into university because my marks one of my marks was horrible. So it like kind of struck me out of going to maths, struck me out of going for university. Yes, mathematics was the subject. But I had to make a plan. Went to the Creative Council, auditioned, smoked it. Got called back, kept on getting called back until both the confidence and my cadence and all of these qualities I have started, coming together and aligning, and I was off to the races. I was getting booked for some of the best gigs. I was that guy. There was other that guys, I'm not just the only one. There was other dudes that my peers who were killing it. But the thing that separated me was I could smoke like English, performing, reciting what the mechanics are. Hi, this is a Sony lens. This lens will allow you to capture amazing photography. Like I was doing that type of shit. And it was awesome. Built a lot of confidence. I broadened my horizons and then eventually went to culinary school and, graduated from that period in my life. But I wouldn't have had that experience had I grown up multilingual, had I if I had been born in any other, way. So Trevor had a different experience where he was light and multilingual. I was dark skinned and unilingual. And we just had very different experiences. But the through lines in this book, which I recommend anybody should go read, are just what happens in a country when identity becomes politicized. And so I'm not done reading it, I'm halfway through. It's a beautiful book. His mother reminds me of my mother in so many ways. And so to segue off that, now that you have a little bit of context of why I communicate the way I communicate and the background behind it, I'm going to be starting a series. Now, I'm going to start it out very slowly, very simply, because it is going to take a lot of work, and there's a high level of difficulty for this. I don't speak Zulu. I haven't been home in a few years and want to return with at least the ability to communicate with the people around me, So the series is going to be Learn Zulu with me, with BloyMeetsWorld. It's going to release once a week. I look forward to doing live streams of it. But the aim is we're going to go back to like first grade Zulu, like intermediate Zulu. I'm going to learn from the basics all the way up. I'm going to release an episode or two every week. And it's just going to be a simple learning course. And the goal is to use that to build community, to do something interesting, and also to provide education. The through line that I discovered about myself is education. I'm a big proponent of it. I loved being in school, but I think if I had understood how my brain understands education and deals with it, I could have definitely excelled way further. But everybody learns differently. And now all of my life lessons have brought me to a point where I can learn and also help others find forms of education as well. So that's the goal. That's the goal for the month of April, is to release Learn Zulu with Sean and keep it pushing. Daze of Discipline for me was a concept. It was a concept designed to help me structure my world by being disciplined, because I would not have been able to make forward strides without a little bit of discipline. And yeah, so welcome to BloyMeetsWorld. That's the big crux of it. And then we go into like personal news. In personal news, this is the first time in my life I'm a bachelor. And boy, is it a trip. Yeah, living alone is a trip. I have a lovely apartment that I basically set up like a studio. Like there's no comfort in it. We'll film in it, I'll take some pictures, I'll post them, but there's zero comfort in my apartment. And the main reason of that is because this is the goal. Like this is the life that I wanna live. I wanna create content, put it out, and build a life that even I can't imagine for myself. And I know this is the ticket. I know this is the key. Not just because everyone is putting out a podcast or something. I've known this is the key for 6 years. I've known it's the thing. It's being able to put one step in front of the other was a barrier I didn't know that I had. Like I didn't know that I was my own worst enemy up until a year and a half ago. Like, hey, praise the Lord for therapy. Praise the Lord for mental health experts. Shout out to my therapist. I'd love to have him on. He has a podcast of his own. I'll tell you the name of the podcast. It's called Truth Talk. Lovely work. And shout out to Dr. Lindsay. I didn't know that I was my own worst enemy. And now that I know that, I have dedicated myself to being my greatest ally. Because it's almost like my mind and my personal self don't sometimes align. And that's when I have to take a breath and go, woo-sa, and just realign. So being a bachelor has brought some stress and also some kind of, focus in, when it gets sticky, I have to figure it out and, calm myself. Being calm was something that I struggled with. But yeah, that's personal news. If anybody wants to sponsor furniture and stuff, hey, send it. Second quarter. So for the second quarter of the year, I have projects. Let me walk through last year. So last year, the first thing that I did and wanted to participate in was an event called Digital Graffiti. I, like the psycho I am, packed a bag with all my gear, iPhone gear, little gimbal, and I went to this event. It was beautiful. I met some beautiful people over there and did some interviews. Also available on my YouTube page. Again, super, super amateur, but I put my hardest effort into it because I wasn't good at editing. I didn't know how to edit. I learned how to edit off of those videos. And yeah, I put something out. So my goal is, the aim is to return next, I have 3 minutes of recording time? That's crazy. The aim is to return this year to reshoot it with better equipment, a better plan, a real understanding of what I'm doing. I intend on getting accredited. So I'm gonna be making calls and sending emails and I want to be there and be a part of it. I had a great time last year, and now that we've gotten our ducks in a row, the aim is to just go ham. Let me pause. Yeah, I want to get accredited. Camera died. So I'm going to pick up where I left off. I want to get accredited. I want to go back to this event. I want to use the opportunity to get in touch with the folks that I met last year because, it was all good vibes. And now I'm in the capacity to. The next one is a two-parter, is Stanton Outside Arts. We're running it back. I think the first thing I'm gonna start with is definitely releasing the video of the second interview meeting with Barbara Bernstein. Shout out to her. Then I am going to finish compiling, the trip that made Stanton from start to finish. I documented all of it, and there's a narrative. There's a lot of lessons in it, and I want to promote the event because I did something special to me there, and I'm running it back. I'm not taking failure as an option. Everything else is bucket list type stuff, which is DreamCon. I want to attend. So DreamCon is maybe out of the. I want to go to DreamCon. Let me just say this. It doesn't have to be this year, but I want to go to DreamCon. That looks like that's a dream. That is a dream. I want to go to DreamCon. There's not much more I can say. I just want to go there. I want to experience it. I want to be around gamers, cosplayers, anime, everything. I want to be, that is my world. Like, bar none, that's where I want to be. So, DreamCon. I want to attend a Juneteenth event. So that's like a couple of months to sniff one out. I want to go to a jazz festival. I miss going to jazz festivals. I miss cool, bluesy black music. And hopefully a cruise at the end of the year. That's, bucket list type stuff. The other thing is, I don't know what these travel things are and travel bans and whatever's going on, but one thing that is I haven't seen my family and my mom and my sister in far too long. So that is a goal for this year. Yeah, we put it on wax, so it's definitely happening. And any other things are, just build and build and build from here. That's the goal. That's all that this is about. So, welcome to BloyMeetsWorld. I'm your host, and I think we killed this first episode. This first episode is purely informational. Like, if you don't know me and you just wanted to figure it out, that's why this episode is like this. I have more topics and structure and stuff that can come, but I needed to start. That's the word. Analysis paralysis, executive dysfunction, nervousness, all that shit gets in the way of my productivity. It gets in the way of my creativity. It gets in the way of just, progress. So I'm grateful to say that, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to this one person. Shout out to my boy Gatlejo, who has been a dog with me. We both met at low points. We just mentally low points. And all we decided to do was we were gonna use our creativity to get us out of this funk, to determine our future. He is a wonderful graphic designer, and also now learn how to self-taught himself how to animate. So that's been dope. But now shout out to my dog. We have been building BloyMeetsWorld over the past 12 months. I met him about this time of the year, and yeah, we've been locked in ever since. Shout out to my boy Otis. Yeah, that's how we met. We've been trying to build a collective, and we're doing it. We're busy, life happens, but we're actually doing it. And I'm doing my part. I said I'd lead with the media and getting this, woo off the road. So I'm finally in the place where I have the capacity to make quantum leaps of change in my life. So yeah, welcome to BloyMeetsWorld. I'm your host. Welcome to my world.